Very interesting that we are bumping up. So yeah, these numbers today were kind of a big deal because of the news we had on Friday. So I would say, today is going to be very complex. I would say the whole week is likely to be very complex with Wednesday coming up. Let's go ahead and take a look at gold here really quick. And if you don't know, the bands have different colors for different reasons. All right, red and green are typically majors and minors. Orange is the mid, and the yeller lines are the bands on the indicator. All right, so like where we would be looking for A books. All right, so gold, after making a leg up in last week, essentially did a whole lot of nothing. Actually, and see, here's where hindsight, this is where price action and looking at stuff over time and getting screen time makes a big difference. Is I'm looking at this now, and I tried to take a sell off of this yesterday, but I'm looking at this now and I'm like, no, that was a stupid sell. And here's why: because this was the first failed breakdown. This was the first macro failed breakdown pattern off of this low here. That's why that was a stupid sell. That's why it never worked. All right, we almost have a nice little channel being painted here of price moving upwards. All right, so honestly, again, still only really looking for buys on gold, but I think it really comes with, first and foremostly, potentially breaking this channel. But again, I would not, if I was in a sell, it would be a hard scalp. It would not be one I'm going to try and hold forever. And to me, the first opportunity for buy, what I would love if I was trading gold, is for just a back test off this previous high. That would be ideal. Right here at the low, here at 66, look at that, 66.17, previous tested low. All right, so we are currently above VWAP right now, but again, coming up here potentially for an A-book sell on oil. If you trade oil, this actually might be a juicy one. I might even get in it. Probably not, but I might. Like a 5% probability, but it would really have to be a barreling down here. So not really much of a trend here formed, obviously. I mean, I just drew this just to draw it. But I'm seeing a potential opportunity for a book if we can come up here again, bouncing off of 66.91, which would have been the previous tested high that ultimately failed. To get another failure off of it would be very nice. Otherwise, we may bust through here and actually come up and test the monthly or the weekly. So those might also might be potentials. All right, 66.91 is a minor. All right, it means nothing. All right, so we would need price action to kind of let us know what's happening here. That's first going to start with the break of a trend line. All right, and obviously if we can get up here a little bit, we might be able to get a little bit of an A-book potential. All right, but again, what we really need now is we need a new low formed. All right, and what we need to do is we need to break through 66.17, and we need to barrel down. Again, true low down here at 65.62. What I would really like, I would like for us to just barrel down. I want us to plow. I want us to go downtown all the way. Oil. Your old grandpa friend, oil. So yesterday, where were we? We were about here during our, that's just on the 15-minute. We were about here in our pre-market session. So I think we had already started the downtrend on oil. Right, and I said, first and foremostly, oil does not gain any sort of upward movement unless we can get above 68.50, but more specifically above 69.30. All right, but that would be the first major low that we reclaim if we can get above 68.51, which was a major low here that we failed that caused the breakdown, and the next would be 69.32. All right, now as we started, I said, this is the back test short right here, where we came up and literally back tested to the tick, 68.50. All right, now at the time we were already kind of pushing down a little bit. So we were kind of late to getting an entry, obviously, because this happened at 6 in the morning. So no one likely got that entry. All right, but it was beautiful, beautiful back test short that happened, unfortunately, in the overnight session. All right, but ultimately we did fail, and I said that, I mean, ultimately, if we would need to paint a new low here in order to to really keep this going. All right, and where this ultimately began, which was very difficult to see, and because honestly, sometimes you just don't know when these big downward trends will happen, you know. But ultimately, I mean, maybe right here. I don't remember when exact time we looked at oil, but this would have actually been nice on a small little back test here of 68.20. That's what would have been required to get back above, and then paint a new high above 68.37 to get back up to here. All right, but ultimately this failed here at 9 o'clock. The other good exit would have been out of this order block here, which was a key level at 67.96. All right, where we failed it, back tested it twice on the 5-minute candles, and then failed it on the next candle, and then it ended up barreling down from there. Now, as far as creating a new low in the overnight session, we did come back down here to 66.17. So we have not come back down to the true low at 65.62 here
in the longer term scale, and we were in a large uptrend since October of 2023, where we had formed highs and lows and formed this channel that we were in. All right, so where we have come and back tested now 3 times is the lower end of this megaphone. All right, so we can see as we form the lows, we came up here once, did not even get close to it, failed, came up here again, failed, came up here again, and now we're failed. All right, so now on this failure, first off, we cleared 59.95. All right, that's why we're barreling down here today, where we did have some previous support off of 95. We are failing it. All right, and now we're coming down here to 56.55, where this was the previous area of support. So similar to NAS, we are at a key level of support that we need to hold right now in order to stay in here. All right, so it's pretty much the same thing again. You can see that that's why this is in red here. All right, 56.51 is the area to hold here. It's where we had previous support on ES over here. All right, and so if we really want to get a squeeze today, all right, first it starts with the recapture of 56.68, but really it begins, a major macro squeeze begins if we can recapture 56.95.